What's up, everybody? It's Bert from Talks with Bert, and this isn't gonna be, it's not gonna be a conversation with anyone. It's gonna be, me speaking, just for a couple minutes because I feel like something important needs to be addressed. And it's what's going on with our country today in today's world, specifically in the past week or so. Back in 2015, 2016, I bought this T-shirt. Um, Hands up, don't shoot. uh because I wanted to spread the message of young people of color, not just young people of color, but people of color, complying with police officers and then still being treated as such that they aren't complying. But I bought that, and that was around the time of Michael Brown being murdered by a police officer. And back then it was, I was very into it. I kept up with a lot of stuff within what was happening with police and African American people. Uh, but, that was a couple years ago and I stopped. A lot of people, I didn't see as much activism for it over the past couple years. And I was like, all right, it must have died down, I guess, the support and the um the support of the community and the outrage over what was happening. Now, I was gonna plan something, but I'm not planning anything. I'm just speaking from my mind, from my heart. And I was going for a run today, and I put on a playlist that I have. It's a very pro cultural people playlist. It has songs, that, address issues that we have. And one song that, has always connected with me since it came out was called White Privilege 2 by Macklemore, the thrift shop guy. Um, so it's interesting to hear because, when I would listen to music about this, it would be from, I listen, All Right by Kendrick Lamar. What else? I listened to, there's a song called War by Nas. It's from the movie about Nat Turner. And there's 16 Shots by Vic Mensa, We the People by A Tribe Called Quest, and Don't Shoot by The Game, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, and it has a whole bunch of rappers in it, a whole bunch of famous rappers. And that one, that I really love that song. That song's about, it's about a whole bunch of different hip hop artists' views on what was going on in America at the time, with African American people and police officers. Now, the White Privilege 2 song I thought was very interesting because Macklemore helps paint a picture of what it's like for people that aren't, that don't really have to worry about this much stuff. White, like white people. He gave the view of white people from all different, parts of life. Well, I don't know if I want to say parts of life, but he gave different perspectives of it. So he gave, the people who are, pro Black Lives Matter, the people um, who are pro for, helping African American people get their voice out. And he also, views the opposite. He also shows the opposite, and I thought it was really interesting. Um, the one there was one verse that really stuck with me through this whole song. It was the second verse, and it made me a little a little upset because I was listening to it and I'm like, when you think about it, it's true. Um, he says He says you can join the march, protest, scream and shout, get on Twitter, hashtag and seem like you're down, but they see through it all. People believe you now. You publicly said rest in peace, Mike Brown. You speak about equality, but do you really mean it? Are you marching for freedom or when it's convenient? Um, And the last part. Are you marching for freedom or when it's convenient? That one, that is the line that really got to me. Because I see a lot of people post about when something big like this happens, and it's broadcasted all over national news. When something big like this happens, I see a lot more people that I don't normally see fighting for this stuff, posting about it, and trying to get the word out, and trying to get justice for whoever is the victim, whoever was the victim. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to see that. But at the same time, it's like this is still happening all across the country. Besides the time right now that we're living in, and when he said, "Are you marching for freedom or when it's convenient?" He's basically saying, "Do you really care, or do you care right now because it's in the media? It's in the mass media." And I know people do care about lives and injustices, but he's saying, "Are you showing up and caring, out loud right now because it's like the thing to do. It's the right thing to do right now, and it's I used to would go for the outcry when I would know about these when they happened, a couple days after, a couple days after they happened. Jesus, I can't speak. But I stopped because a lot of people stopped caring, and I noticed it. That's the one thing that really gets to me, is that a lot of people stop caring a couple months after this happens. People move on, and they just kind of, you're like, oh yeah, that was really bad, and rest in peace to that person. And but then they go about their lives a couple months later like it's nothing, and they don't continue their support for it. They may be like, oh yeah, I heard about that, yeah, that's kind of messed up, but they're not out there posting about it and going out to protests. I'm not saying you have to go out to protests. I'm just saying a lot of people take advantage of this opportunity right now, whenever something like this happens. Um, and I do see athletes always posting. They always post about this, but even them, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there's always a lot of stuff going on in the world, but this is an injustice that's been going on for years and years. I'm not a member of the African American community. I'm not a member of the Black community. But as someone who is Latino and Native American, something like this still hits close to home, because even though I'm not, I'm not Black, I'm not African American, I still, face prejudice, and I still face, not everything as extreme as they are because of my given circumstance of where I am, like basically, the household I'm living in, and where we are when it comes to, being middle class, high middle class, low middle class, in class stance. It's different, I'm a brown kid. I'm a brown kid, and if I wear certain clothes, I'm gonna get looked at funny. People see my tattoos, they see a brown kid with tattoos, they're gonna think, oh, he might be, he's thinking something. I've had people give me dirty looks. I've had people in my past, I know they didn't like the fact that I was me. And it sucks. It does suck, and something like this is really, you really need to experience it to fully understand it. Something like this, it hurts. It hurts to see. Because I'm growing up in it, I'm gonna be 20 this year. I'm almost gonna be 21. I'm gonna be 21 next year. And it's hard growing up in a world, and not even a world, in a country where people that have a dark skin color like you are being taken advantage of and being treated like filth. It's not even police. I talked about police with a guest a couple nights ago. We talked about the Black Lives Matter movement and the Blue Lives Matter movement. don't have, really don't have a thing wrong with police. One of my best friends, his dad is a police officer. He's a retired police officer. Thank God for him. He was one of the nicest people I've ever met. I absolutely love him. One of my best friends, his uncle is a police officer. And I respect the hell out of them. They put their lives on the line every day, and it's a tough job. It's a tough job. But when you have bad apples in the batch, a lot of people like to pick them and say, and then you know, if you see a whole batch of if you see a whole batch of apples, if you want to use that analogy, and there's a couple bad ones, you're most likely gonna associate the entire batch as bad because you're gonna be like, oh, there's five out of 8 or 9 that are bad. Well, we won't take that batch, and you're gonna associate a handful of the bad ones, a handful of bad ones and good ones, and you're gonna associate them with the negative. But police officers are not the problem. It is the people. It is the people who are doing this are the problem. Police officers are not the problem. Police officers definitely abuse their power. There are police officers that abuse their power, but not all of them are bad. That is a fact. I know a lot of people use the counter argument saying about 99% of police officers aren't bad, and I believe them. Every police officer I've encountered hasn't been an asshole to me. They've all been very polite to me, but there are people who have bad intentions with that power. Anyone with that power can go mad. When you're a police officer, you can trust your judicial system because you're a part of it. As someone who isn't, I don't feel like I can trust my judicial system as much as one of my white counterparts could. If I, it's a lot. It's a lot right now. Um, it's a sad time. It's a sad time we're living in, and I just feel like if this keeps happening, not if, this is gonna keep happening. And I don't want to hear people blaming Trump for this because, stuff like this happened when Obama was president, when other presidents were president. Uh, it's a recurring theme. It doesn't have to do with the president. Yes, President Donald J. Trump, you may not like him. I personally don't like him. But you also can't brush under the rug what Obama did, bad stuff that Obama did. He did a lot of, sly stuff. If you look up a whole bunch of documents, you will see, he bombed a lot of civilians in the Middle East during his time as president. And that's awful, absolutely awful. The one thing that a lot of people liked more about Obama was that he was for the culture. He represented that, people of color, not just mainly African Americans, but also someone like myself, that someone that has a dark skin can be president, can be at the top, and it's really inspiring. Our president may spread some bad thoughts. Our current president, specifically, I remember when he was, very enforceful about the wall. He's very much, he's not as, big on it right now. He's not really shoving it in your face, what I'm saying. But but something like that is something that really gets me, because, I'm Latino, and being a part of the Latino culture, it's heartbreaking to see. I know that I understand both sides of the argument. These people are coming over illegally, which is, it's not allowed. It's just not allowed. It's the law. It's the law. And they're being taken out of the homes that they're living in, that they're illegally living in, and being brought back to their country. Now, that is the law. That is the law. And I'm not going to fight against that. But but some people have to understand. I know you're not in their position, so you can't fully experience it, but it is insanely hard. You can wait years for something like that, to be living in a very poor um, part of your country, and then you sign up to be, to try to come into the United States. Fill out all your forms, and you can wait years. You can wait years and years and never get anything back, or you can wait years and years, and they'll say like, oh, we need you to fill out some more stuff, and then there's more waiting. It's an insane amount of time, and people can't wait because they could die. They could die in their situation. Some of them. It depends. It all depends. It all depends on the person, the situation, everything. But the reason they are jumping is because their lives are so bad there that they want to live in, this country that we live in. We have freedom of speech. We have all this stuff, and they do get better opportunities here. And yes, a lot of people say they should just do it. They should do it the legal way. Well, they do, but then they get tired of waiting so long. By the time they could even hear something back, they could have already been something bad already could have happened to them in their home country, and it's sad. But back to what is happening in our country right now with protests and everything. I never thought that protests, like that, like what are happening right now, are they're not very good. No, I don't think they're good. A lot of people, I under, I get, because I want to go out there and join them sometimes, because the anger fills up inside of me about something like this, and I just want to, I don't blame them for fucking beating up a car or flipping over a car, setting shit on fire. I don't blame them. But a lot of people go out there and take this as an opportunity. They take this and use it to their advantage. They'll go and loot. And that's not a good look. That's not a good look for the community. It's not a good look for the protests. And people got to understand, the reason that the people riot is because the people who actually care, let me rephrase that. People who actually care that riot are doing it because they've lived with it for so long. They've lived with this anger for so long that they just need to let it out. And when you get that much anger with a lot of people, that much passion, it's going to blow up. Everything's just going to go crazy. But there's a lot of people that also take advantage of this and, act ignorant. They act ignorant out in public doing this stuff. And, um, you know, I don't know how we're gonna fix this. I don't know how we're gonna fix any of this. But it's a sad time that we live in, where stuff like this. I saw that video. I know a lot of people were talking about it. Who, um, that woman who, she called the police on that man who was in the area for bird watching, and you can't, you're supposed to have your dog on a leash because, they're not gonna, because they might attack the birds. And that's supposed to be it's supposed to be a designated bird watching area, to protect birds. And that's the reason why the dog's supposed to be in the leash. And the woman, holding her dog, by the collar, no leash. She has a leash in her hand. I see it. But she calls the cops, said, I'm going to say that an African American male is like, she didn't like, is attacking me. And we all saw the video. If you haven't seen the video, go take a look at it. He's not touching her. He's obviously just there to watch birds. And she's like, I'm gonna say you're an African American male. And it's crazy. That's crazy. Cause she knows that if she says it's an African American male, the police are, the people the people that they're being sent could be, they'd be like, all right, we're on the lookout for an African American male. They could be, more prejudiced. There's no guarantee that the cop is prejudiced or not. The cops seemed fine. The police seemed fine. They seemed like, cool guys, when I read the report and looked at it. But at the same time, there's still a very big risk when, when you're dealing with someone like that, um, that you can use someone's skin color or description of their skin color and person against them. That you can say, the way you hear her say it, she had the worst intentions. She had the intentions of him being arrested because he was an, African American male. She used that against him, you know, and she said she felt awful after. Probably because, she got fired from her job and a lot of people were like, "Yo, that's fucked up. Don't say that." And it is fucked up. It is fucked up. I know, I go hit at some of the courts at a high school right near my house, and I hit with this woman. I hit with this older woman, she's like 70, and we play pickleball, when she comes by, if she has her set. And she doesn't have a problem with me. She doesn't have a problem. Because I dress in just regular clothes that you would see a kid wear, or a teenager, not a kid. When you see a teenager wear. But there was this one time this guy was walking his pit bull. He was walking his pit bull, and he had baggy jeans on, baggy jean shorts, awful fashion choice. Let me just say that. But he had baggy jean shorts and a black T-shirt, and he had this gold chain. Excuse me. He had these headphones on, and he was listening to music, and he was walking, and she kept looking at him. She kept looking, and this man was just walking his dog. He was rapping along to his music. But this woman would not stop looking at him until he finally walked all the way by and we couldn't see him. She watched him the entire time. I was waiting for her to hit the ball back, and she watched him the entire time. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was insane because, I wasn't worried. I was like, "Oh, it's this guy walking his dog." It's nothing to me. But this woman was giving him she just wouldn't let him out of her sight the entire time. She would watch when he walked by the first time, and then when he walked back, she stared at him, and I felt awful because we had other people walk by too. Other people walk by, they were on their bikes, or just people walking. She wouldn't look at them. She would give them a quick little glance over, and then that's it. But she stared at this man, and I couldn't, I could tell she didn't know what this man was going to do. I did. He was just walking his dog. But that showed me, even the people that I think I know, I don't know them. It makes me think I know them. I thought I knew her, but she still was, she had a little bit of fear in her over some guy walking his dog and how he was dressed, just because of how he was dressed. Um, I'm not gonna bring up, some other stuff, but it's, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. This world that we live in is crazy. 2020 is crazy. Um, I just wanted to, get that off my chest. I feel like it should have been. I should feel like it should be addressed as someone who cares about not only the African American community, but also someone who just cares as someone who isn't, as someone who is also prone, because I'm Latino, to be, profiled more in a sense. I know that, I'm in a middle class home, nice home, but still that doesn't take away the fact that, there are still some people who give me looks because of my skin color, people who think differently because of my skin color. And it sucks, it does suck. I notice it. I don't address it. I just, leave it how it is. Um, but, I feel like now more than ever, someone should address something. And I don't want this incident recently that just happened to be a one-off thing again, like a month or two of protesting and outcry. I don't want to see people who are posting now not post when this stuff is still happening and then post when, one of them goes viral. One of the things goes viral. I remember when like I don't know how many of you know Tamir Rice. That case was, that was sad. Tamir Rice was, I believe, 12 years old. Um, but that was a sad case. I didn't see people posting about that when that happened. And I remember I thought it was huge. I thought it was huge. And, other people did too. Um, but, but people weren't treating it like a Trayvon Martin. People weren't saying it was, it wasn't like this past recent one. I didn't see people posting about it, like my, people that I know. And I know that there are people who do care. They just don't, they just don't keep up with it as much as, I may do. I know there are people that definitely care a lot when it comes to stuff like this. I'm not a big fan of people, hopping on the bandwagon of this. I'm not going to call it a bandwagon because that sounds like a fucking asshole thing to say. But people hopping on and, showing their support in the times that this stuff goes viral. That's the only thing that's the only problem I have. And, you can hate me, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. But that's just how I feel as someone who isn't white, isn't black, but someone who can still understand the struggle of, not the struggle, but still understands some of the hardships of being prejudiced and seen as differently because of your skin color. This is a tough conversation to have. Not for myself, but it's a tough conversation that I'm going to post because it's controversial. It can be controversial, and I know I'll probably get some hate. I don't know if people are going to actually say it, in the comments or to my face, but I know people will be saying to themselves or under their breath or to other people, this guy's fucking crazy. I'm not gonna listen to him. I don't believe what he's saying. But I just feel like I feel like I have a unique perspective on this compared to some of the other people that I know. And yeah, yeah, that's really it. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope everyone, through this time, I hope everyone just learns to love each other. We need to find love. We need to pick up our shit 2020 and try to fix a lot of the problems that we have. Yeah. All right, everybody. Peace out.